Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, which is entitled The First Step in God Realization. Let me share the screen. The First Step in God Realization. And Chapter 2, Canto 2 is the Cosmic Manifestation. Chapter 1, the First Step in God Realization, and text 12. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Kim pramattasya bahubihi parakshe hayanairiha varam muhurtam viditam ghatate shreyase yataha. Kim pramattasya bahubihi parakshe hayanairiha varam muhurtam viditam ghatate shreyase yataha. Kim pramattasya bahubihi parokshe hayanairiha varam muhurtam viditam ghatate shreyase yataha. Please recite.
Kim pramutasya bhubhihi prokshair hayanairiha varam muhurtam viditam ghatate shreyase yata. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Anyone else want to try?
Kim pramattasya bahubhi parokshayadhayanair iha varam muhurtam viditam ghatate shreyase yata.
Should we go for synonyms, or anyone wants to recite?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Kim pramatasya bahubhihi parokshayarhayanayariha varam muhurtam viditam ghatate shreyase yataha. Hare Krishna.
Amen. Thank you. So we'll do the synonyms, or anyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Arjun.
Kim pramatasya bahubhi parokshayarhaya nairiha varam muhurtam viditam ghatate shreyase yataha.
Thank you. Very beautiful verse. Synonyms. Kim, what is? Pramatasya, of the bewildered. Bahubhihi, by many. Parokshahi, inexperienced. Ayanahi, years. Iha, in this world. Varam, better. Muhurtam, a moment. Viditam, conscious. Ghatate, one can try for. Shreyase, in the matter of the supreme interest. Yataha, by that. Translation. What is the value of prolonged life which is wasted? Inexperienced by years in this world. Better a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a start in searching after his supreme interest. Purport. Srila Sukadeva Goswami instructed Maharaj Parikshit about the importance of the chanting the holy name of the Lord by every progressive gentleman. In order to encourage the king, he had only 7 remaining days of life, Srila Sukadeva Goswami asserted that there is no use in living hundreds of years without any knowledge of the problems of life. Better to live for a moment with full consciousness of the supreme interest to be fulfilled. The supreme interest of life is eternal, with full knowledge and bliss. Those who are bewildered by the external features of the material world and are engaged in the animal propensities of the eat, drink, and be merry type of life are simply wasting their lives by the unseen passing away of valuable years. We should know in perfect consciousness that human life is bestowed upon the conditioned soul to achieve spiritual success. And the easiest possible procedure to attain this end is to chant the holy name of the Lord. In the previous verse, we have discussed this point to a certain extent, and we may further be enlightened on the different types of offenses committed unto the feet of the holy name. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu has quoted many passages from authentic scriptures and has ably supported the statements in the matter of offenses and the feet of the holy name. From Vishnu Yamala Tantra, Srila Jiva Goswami has proven that one can be liberated from the effects of all sins simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Quoting from the Markandeya Purana, Srila Jiva Goswami says that one should neither blaspheme the devotee of the Lord nor indulge in hearing others who are engaged in belittling a devotee of the Lord. A devotee should try to restrict the vilifier by cutting out his tongue, and being unable to do so, one should commit suicide rather than hear the blaspheming of the devotee of the Lord. The conclusion is that one should neither hear nor allow vilification of a devotee of the Lord. As far as distinguishing the Lord's holy name from the names of the demigods, the revealed scriptures disclose, BG 10. Bhagavad Gita 10.41, that all extraordinarily powerful beings are part and parcels of the Supreme Energetic, Lord Krishna. Except for the Lord himself, everyone is subordinate. No one is independent of the Lord. Since no one is more powerful than or equal to the energy of the Supreme Lord, no one's name can be as powerful as of the Lord. By chanting the Lord's holy name, one can derive all the stipulated energy synchronized from all sources. Therefore, one should not equalize the supreme holy name of the Lord with any other name. Brahma, Shiva, or any other powerful God can never be equal to the Supreme Lord Vishnu. The powerful holy name of the Lord can certainly deliver one from sinful effects. But one who desires to utilize this transcendental potency of the holy name of the Lord in one's sinister activities is the most degraded person in the world. Such persons are never excused by the Lord or by any agent of the Lord. One should therefore utilize one's life in glorifying the Lord by all means, without any offense. Such activity of life, even for a moment, is never to be compared to a prolonged life of ignorance, like the lives of the trees and other living entities who may live for thousands of years without prosecuting spiritual advancement. Om Ajnanati Mirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbhisesa Sunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Good morning. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I would like to see blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas to discuss and share this beautiful instruction or knowledge from Srila Sukadeva Goswami. Again, the purport and the translation. What is the value of prolonged life which is wasted, inexperienced by years in this world? Better a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a start in searching after his supreme interest. So, here the conversation between Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj is happening. Particularly, Prabhupada writes in his purport, it's a bewilderment. Sukadeva Goswami has received the notice for 7 days of life on his left. Anyone in this world, when we get such kind of notice, we immediately will be bewildered. Those who are bewildered by the external features of the material world and are engaged in the animal propensities of eat, drink, and be merry type of life are simply wasting their life by the unseen passing away of valuable years. Bewilderment. Everyone is bewildered, Prabhupada says. We are always constantly bewildered. What to do, how to live, how will I maintain my body, how will I maintain my family, how will I improve my material situations. Isn't it? That becomes a constant meditation. Will my boss is happy? Will my country, my job, will have enough money to survive? In this world, our meditation, this material world, constantly bewilders to every living entity, constantly. From animal to human, everyone has to work in bewilderment. That's the nature of this world. The Lord's illusory energy puts everyone in that situation, constant anxiety. Because this is not the place for us. Dukhalamos asvatam, places misery and temporary place. And that's why our symptoms also are like that. We never feel in our life that we are settled. We think that, okay, if now when I'm situated here, my meditation is, if I do this, I'll be settled and I'll be happy. Then once I attain that, again, something will, if I do this, then I'll be happy. So we are not happy, neither we are settled at any point of time in this material world. It's not possible. Trying to find permanently peace and happiness in an impermanent world. And especially while planning and thinking this way by constant anxiety, we reach our old age. And when the death becomes closer, it bewilders more and more. That's why youngsters, generally they don't understand what the senior citizens go through in their mind. And I'm sure one of the things will be bewildering, what will be my condition? What will happen? Who will take care of me? A fear of death. Not knowing what to do, always live their life in anxiety. Whole life is lived with unlimited desires. And to fulfill unlimited desires, unlimited anxieties. And last stage of life also goes in full of anxieties. So Parikshit Maharaj's question is a very universal question. It's beneficial for everyone. Such a wonderful question. What one is supposed to do, not knowing. And interestingly, he asked this question for everybody. Because that everyone has gone through And everyone will go through this moment of this phase of life. So by asking this question, he did a great mercy, good to the society and citizen, the future generations to come, including all of us. I didn't know, what we are supposed to do. And probably I didn't ask this question also until I came to a Sangha, Association of the Devotees. So Parikshit Maharaj asked this perfect question, what was supposed to do. And Sukadeva Goswami also, gave a perfect answer in a very clarity, not jugglery. Maybe you should do this, maybe you try this, maybe you try this. In this age, at time, we use that kind of jugglery words, maybe, I think so, because we are not clear. All this we try to experiment. But Sukadeva Goswami's statement is not like that, maybe you should. He says, Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishwar Harihi Swatabhya Kirtitabhyascha Smartabhyaschi Tata Bhayam. He says, O King Parikshit, those who desires to be free from all miseries, he used the particular thing, those who desires to be free from all. It means not everyone will like to be free from, even the question was asked for everybody. But, living entity has different desires. They want to fulfill. Even the last minute of life, there will be some desires will be left over. There's a material desire and the spiritual desire. When Prabhupada in that phase where he's about to leave very close to leave his body, he still had a desire to fulfill by offering varnashrama, creating example of a model of a varnashrama system. So that's a transcendental desire, because a devotee, pure devotee, never gets satiated or get tired in serving, because their position is to serve. They get satisfaction in all circumstances. But materialistic people have their own desire. I wish I could have finished that work. I wish I could have done this. I wish I would have eaten this. And I wish I would have seen my dear son or daughter. And always there will be desires. Last minute. But those who desire to be free from all miseries must hear about, glorify, and also remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his activities. The controller and the savior of from all miseries, because he is the controller and the savior from all miseries. And rather go to the person who can help you, not bewilder you. Rupa Goswami suggests that asasanga, I think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, asasanga tyaga yei Vaishnavachar. So when we give up unnecessary association, that is the symptom of a Vaishnava. And Rupa Goswami also writes, to give up the worldly association, material association, not get guidance influenced by them. Because if we get associated, their association will always be an anxiety to maintaining our status in this world. What if my best of the car is gone? How will I pay my bill? What people will think if I drive a small car? What people will think, what my neighbors will think, what will be my prestige in front of my friends. There's always competition, and to be better than others in materially, at the same time anxiety to maintain that. It doesn't come just like that. It comes with a lot of anxiety. But these great souls are bringing us, removing our passion, bringing us to the platform we can really deeply contemplate seriously. Is this what is I need it? Is this what is all in all? Is if these things goes away, will I not be able to live my life happily? If this is the ultimate goal of my life? So this great source has brought us to a platform where we can think peacefully and execute. Sukadeva Goswami says, Varam muhurtam viditam bhatase shreyase yataha. Shreyase, the word he is used, shreyase. Shreyase means the matter of the supreme interest. So there is shreyas and prayas. We must have heard about shreyas and prayas. What is the prayas? Generally, if you see prayers, general population is very much interested in prayers only. Prayers is immediate gratification. Immediate gratification. What gives us immediate instant result? That's we choose it. Who cares for long run? Something will come. But general population invest their time, energy, efforts in prayers, which is instant gratification or immediate what happens. But Shreyas is the activity which it may take time, but what is going to happen is going to make ultimate benefit for us. Best. Shreyas is that activity which brings the ultimate benefit to us. So Shreyas and prayers, both are activities. But in general, people less intelligent, they engage in prayers activity. The example, the children are not mature. Children are very, very tender and they're not mature yet. And their tendency is what gives them the instant gratification, they will focus on that. If we ask, they get the opportunity to spending time in electronic gadgets, they will go through what they can give them fun immediately, watching cartoons and watching unnecessary things. They will not think if I do something nice, study will help in future establishing job, career, and they will not think. I'm just giving relative things. But a parent, the parents knows, they will engage. Oh, don't do this. If you do this, you will have a challenge in the future. So parent in that time, they know what is Shreyas and what is prayers. They don't want to go to school many times. They don't want to study. They want to have fun. This is called prayers, because instant gratification. So similarly, every conditioned soul in this world is born of ignorance. We all are born of ignorance. That's why we need knowledge, the Vedas. And most of the people want to enjoy material happiness, which is prayers. It's not Shreyas. Why prayers? It gives the gratification, but same thing after some time will not gratify you. And the material happiness does not last, which has a beginning and which is an end. Antavanta. Yehi sansparsaja bhoga dukkha eva yena cha. So this material sense object gives us pleasure, but which is a beginning and which is an end. A self-realized person, or an intelligent person, does not indulge in it, knowing well what it will give me. Struggling too hard for material accumulation, unnecessary. In this world is always competing. Oh, I got this gadget, you got this gadget, I got iPhone 14, 13, something like that. They feel very happy. When they feel, people generally feel very happy that I got this best of the cars, I got best of the gadgets. As if that's going to remain its best. No, it remains best only that day when you buy. And every next day it becomes old, and you'll develop distaste for it. So similarly, this human body also, every day we become old. Just like human body, the gadgets also go. So these are prayers activities. So Sukadeva Goswami is suggesting is to look into Shreyas, what is the best use of it. Many times we see in this material world that many people are very, very responsible in material activities. In material sense, they are good managers, they do their work nicely, and it's a good thing. And money management and administration, but the neglect some of the activities is necessary for the long run. He accumulates wealth, he discharges his duty now perfectly, but he does not relate his duty in Krishna consciousness, which is going to help him in long run, free him from the birth, death, old age, disease. Because Parishad Maharaj was, even though he was a very busy person, think about an emperor, how busy he would be. A busy person, even though he was engaged in so many activities, administration activities, but he remembered Krishna always. So that is, he engaged in Shreyas activity. Even though in the so-called appeared to be like prayers, but his activities were Shreyas activities, which is beneficial. So that's why Sukadeva Goswami is saying the supreme benefit is to become free from the bondage of material existence and go back to Godhead. And that you can do by Tasmad Bharat Sarvatma. One who is desiring to free from the material miseries must hear about, glorify, and always remember Krishna. The devotees take these instructions from these such great souls. But many times, if you see, even after we take these instructions, we come to devotional service, we practice, we know that my goal is focused. I came here, chanting Krishna, hearing about Krishna, and serving Krishna, spreading the movement. But our mind constantly thinks about so many things. Unlimited thoughts comes to our mind. Even with devotees, practicing devotees, unlimited things comes to our mind. Isn't thousands of thoughts comes to our mind, and we get deviated from our goal. Our spiritual master Radhanath Swami, he went to with Gaurang Prabhu to attend a seminar. The seminar was something on science, and they went. So it seemed that Maharaj felt so bored by attending this. So they came out after seminar was over, and they came out. So Maharaj asked, "How did you like it?" to Gaurang Prabhu. So Gaurang Prabhu was saying, "Oh, I liked it, but in between I was taking dose, like I was, sleeping." So Maharaj said, "You're lucky. In between, I used to wake up in between. You used to sleep in between. I used to wake up in between. You're very lucky." So our life, our Krishna consciousness can be like that. Maybe in between, we may be thinking of sometimes of Krishna. Thoughts of Krishna comes. Sometimes thoughts of Krishna comes. That's why we need to train our mind, always think of Krishna. Plan our day is that it reminds us of Krishna. As King Kulasekara says, this verse I don't remember fully, Save Mana Krishna Pada Aravindare, and always Pada Aravindare, and always keep Lord Krishna in our heart, in our mind. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, during Rath Yatra time, he was in ecstasy. He was speaking in the mood of Srimati Radharani. About his mind. He speaks a very nice statement from here. Let me share this to all of you. 1 second. Oh, yes. Okay, he says, Anyara Hridaya Mana Mora Mana Brindavana Mane Vane Eko Kari Jani Taha Tamara Padadvaya Karaha Yadi Udaya Tabe Tamara Purna Krupamani. So he's saying, he's speaking in the mood of Vrindavan. He said that for most people, the mind and heart are one. But because my mind is never separated from Vrindavan, I consider my mind and Vrindavan to be one. My mind is already Vrindavan, and since you like Vrindavan, will you please place your lotus feet here? I would deem that your full mercy. So basically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking in the mode of Srimati Radharani to Krishna. He's speaking to Krishna. Krishna speaks to Krishna. He says that my mind and Vrindavan are all the same thing. Will you please stay, live in my heart, which is Vrindavan. Here Prabhupada writes very beautiful short purport here. He said, the mind's activities are thinking, feeling, and willing, by which the mind accepts materially favorable things and rejects unfavorable things. So this is what constant mind does, always. I like it, I don't like it. I like it, I don't like it. I like him, I don't like him. I like her, I don't like her. I like my boss, I don't like the boss. I accept this, I reject this. Accepting, rejecting. So this is the 24/7. The mind acts like this. So this is the consciousness of the people in general, right? But when one's mind does not accept or reject, but simply becomes fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna, then one's mind becomes as good as Vrindavan. So one is completely bereft of these thoughts and just allowing the mind to go whatever he wants. And the other one is completely always thinking of Krishna. One's mind becomes as good as Vrindavan. Wherever Krishna is, there is also the Srimati Radharani, the gopis, the cowboys, and all the other inhabitants of Vrindavan. Thus, as soon as one fixes Krishna in his mind becomes identical with Vrindavan. In other words, when one's mind is completely freed from all material desires and is engaged only in service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one always lives in Vrindavan and nowhere else. This is the beauty. As Rupa Goswami gives, the 5 most important form of spiritual practice is potent form, living in association of the devotees, okay, and chanting the holy name, worshipping the deities, living in Dham, Vrindavan, Mathura. So in this way, when he gives here, we can see from Prabhupada's purport, as soon as one fixes Krishna in his mind becomes identical with Vrindavan. So if somehow or other we train our mind, train ourselves to live, if we can, in engage in service, reminds us Krishna that itself is Vrindavan. So this is a beautiful. So then Krishna is never separated from Vrindavan, and we are not separated from Vrindavan. So mind, Prabhupada created such a beautiful program. We can always think, engage ourselves, create ourselves in the services. But especially Sukadeva Goswami he writes here, or Prabhupada writes in the purport as well. Let me share that again. That Sukadeva Goswami's statement is, what is the value of prolonged life, which is wasted? There's a competition to increase, to live long life. The longer is the better, isn't it? Recently in Delaware, there's a announcement from the government that they had this, they created all this facility for a prolonged life, with tubes and oxygen and in the nursing home and everything, so you can live long. But they created a new thing called assisted, what do you call assisted killing or assisted something? I forgot. What you call, if you want, you can die now.
Assisted suicide.
Oh, assisted suicide. Thank you. Is it there in Pennsylvania also?
I don't know.
You don't know? Assisted suicide, yeah. The assisted suicide. Why we make all these false promises that you will be eternal, you will live long, we have all this technology, we can make you strong and young, and then we finally everything collapses, and we say that okay, now you can die, assisted suicide. Now we call it It's not saying that we cannot do it. Now we're saying that, okay, now you can make your own call. So the material society was encouraging us to have this life, a prolonged life. It's wasted. Not doing any shreyas. It's all was prayers only. Prolonged life is good, but provided it is engaged in the shreyas work. What is the shreyas work? My current activity, my engaging of my senses are beneficial, supreme beneficial. Like it is long term, it should be beneficial, should help me being free from birth, death, old age, and disease, and help me to attain love for Krishna. That is shreyas. That prolonged life is good. And there's nothing wrong. A devotee can live, a pure devotee can live. While living is beneficial, while he will leave his body also beneficial, because he goes back to Krishna. He engages in the same activity. Really doesn't make any difference for the pure devotee. But what is the use of having a life and just prolonged life? We can simply cause disturbance to others. So here we should know in perfect consciousness that human life is bestowed upon the conditioned soul to achieve spiritual success. And the easiest possible procedure is attained to this end is chanting the holy name of the Lord. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can attain this. However, Prabhupada stresses again in this, one has to be very careful and not to commit offenses. And the primarily 10 offenses, which is very prominent. One has to be very, very careful to chant and to chant without offense. Without offense. Now, one should therefore utilize one's life in glorifying the Lord by all means, without any offense. Such activity of life, even for a moment, is never to be compared to a prolonged life of ignorance. Makes sense? So you may live long, you may live short, but you engaged in devotional service. That's better. Because trees also live long. There's so many animals that live long. But living long is not the purpose of life. What we do, everything we take from the society, if you notice in our life, we constantly eat from morning to night. Okay, what we will eat, what we will cook, what we will eat, how will to eat, how will you get money, whatever way, cooked or cooked, we try to get that money by engaging in sinful activities, just for satisfying our senses. That's not the purpose of life. So this is a very beautiful life. A lot of lessons to learn from this verse. It's very instructive and straightforward. A little heavy also. We may not be able to tell this to everybody, but at least we can realize this. How constant remembering of this makes us free from all this anxiety and directs us to plan our life and how we can be 24/7 Krishna consciousness. Just like Mother Sobara, they mentioned, she just went to Gita Nagari, engaged in the service. There's no time for anything else. Fortunate are those who get this opportunity to engage and 100% Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada actually also given us this 100% program. Chanting, reading, hearing, engaging in service, cleaning, giving some donations to Krishna and planning how to expand the movement, preaching movement. It's never ending. We can chant the holy name as what you call bhajananandi. Go to the dham and just chant, meditate, remember Krishna. That we can do. Or we can chant and serve as Goshtyanandi. We regulate in such a way that we help the movement and helping others in become Krishna conscious. So it's a good instructions I took for myself. I would like to stop here. If any comments, corrections, please feel free. Thank you. Anyone would like to share something? Kavila Prabhu, Dhanacharya Prabhu. Others, I don't know who are. Was it heavy? Wasn't it a beautiful message?
Definitely, definitely beautiful. Every verse is heavy. What I was thinking is, I don't know if they do it now also, but to encourage a donkey, they sometimes tie a little carrot on a stick and hold it in front of the donkey. So the donkey will keep walking, hoping to get to the carrot. And, when you were saying that every moment we keep trying to get more, thinking that will make us happier. We are definitely more well off now than we were 20 years ago or 30 years ago when we were young, when we got started. But I don't think we are happier because, it's the wrong things. That it's definitely these temporary things will not give us happiness. So that is, every now and then we also need to be reminded that what we are endeavoring for is not going to give us happiness. The happiness is going to come somewhere else. And feeding the soul is important. Even at this camp, there were a lot of parents, so most of the mothers are young and some of them are struggling. They kept, one of the mothers I was talking to was saying, why is ISKCON so, you have to meet people where they are. Why do you, like this heavy message? And I said, it's because only ISKCON seems to start with the right message. It took me a long time to understand that we have to feed the soul and not but because everywhere else it's like, pray, you will get what you want, because you're always in distress. You're constantly in some distress or the other. And to solve that distress, we go pray. And that's not going to give us the happiness. It's only when you realize that all that is temporary, and no matter how much you try, like that donkey, you will never reach that carrot. You're never going to get happy. You're never going to be satisfied. So, I don't know, conveying this message to younger people, meeting them where they are, it's beyond me. I don't know how to, I did my best to tell her why ISKCON has to give the message that it has to give. How do you do it without diluting it? Basically, that was the discussion we were having. She says, it's okay if people are not getting it, tell them what they need to get and then help them get there. But then we cannot dilute the message.
Right.
How do you do it without diluting? So when Srila Prabhupada does it, it's different because he's at a very high platform. If for him it is easy, for the rest of us, how do you convey that message? And I said, I at least understand why ISKCON is having to give this heavy message and not say, oh, pray to whoever you want, like you were saying, hodgepodge, just word jugglery, maybe this, maybe that, you can do this also, that also, nothing wrong, no big deal.
No one wants to be the bad guy by speaking the truth nowadays.
Exactly. So, and the other big point, I think, was the blaspheming of devotees. I think that is something also that we have to be very careful and very conscious of as we become more and more serious, how to have those relationships without getting ourselves in trouble. Because even in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says very clearly that the Lord and his agents don't take that lightly. So yes, those were the two things that I got from this morning's class.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for sharing. That's really wonderful. Yeah, very nice. It's like a constant meditation, how to improve ourselves. Yeah. Thank you. Any other comments? So it's
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kirtan Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you for a very nice class. The topic of death is always, a tricky one, because for the most part, it's theoretical for us. We can talk about it, we can preach about it, we can think in the future, but we know from everything that we hear and see from people that have gone through it, it's a very difficult time. Probably the most challenging time of our life. But still we have to talk about it because Krishna says it's such an important part, because our consciousness at the time of death is what's going to take us to the next life. So we have to continue to, think about this. Not that we dwell on it all the time, but we live our life in a way in which that we can prepare that at the time of death, our attachments will be for Krishna and not for this material world. So we should live our life in such a way that, gradually detaching ourselves from the material world and attaching ourselves to the spiritual mission of Krishna consciousness. And then with that, having the faith that Krishna will take care of all the difficulties at the time of death. So we have to talk about it, even though it may become uncomfortable. Why do we need to talk about death? Why is this? Krishna talks about it a lot in the Bhagavad Gita. That's one reason. And then, we have to talk about it because we have to prepare. So I appreciate the class very much.
Thank you. That's amazing. Thank you, Sonam Dhananjay, for everything you do. So we will stop it here today. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada. Vancha kalpatarivascha prasindhu. Hare Krishna.